Welcome to Lesson 12, Configuring Routing on a Cisco Router, Sublesson 12.4, Configuring EIGRP. In this lesson, we're going to use a similar topology to what we've used in previous lessons. Two Nexus 7000s connected over a routed link between ports E46 and E48. Let's take a look. Here I have my Nexus 7000. I want to turn on EIGRP, but if you remember correctly, most things are turned off on the Nexus 7000 by default, or the Nexus 5000 in NXOS in general. So we need to turn these different features on, and we're going to do that with our feature command. So we're going to go ahead and say feature EIGRP. This goes ahead and starts up the EIGRP process and installs the command so that we can use them to configure EIGRP. The next thing I want to do is start configuring EIGRP. So I'm going to type router EIGRP CCNA. This is simply giving the EIGRP process a process tag. Now once we type in that command, it actually brings us in to configure that routing process globally. I can adjust things like metrics. I can configure a router ID. In this case, we need to configure an autonomous system. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Autonomous system 10. Remember that the autonomous system number has to match between your EIGRP neighbors. Once I've configured that, I want to exit out of the global configuration. Now, in order to allow my interfaces to start participating in EIGRP, I need to go under that interface and tell that interface that I want it to participate. So I'm going to go to that specific interface, E4/46, and I'm going to tell it to be part of the EIGRP process by saying IP router EIGRP CCNA. I have now made this interface part of the routing process. So the EIGRP protocol will try to learn about neighbors through this interface. If I exit out, I can start to verify my configuration. The first thing I might want to do is show run EIGRP. This shows me all of my current configurations for the EIGRP process. The second thing I might want to do is to see if I have any neighbors. So show IP EIGRP neighbors. And indeed I do. My other Nexus 7000 has responded, and I have created a neighbor relationship between my Nexus and the other Nexus over Ethernet port 446. Now, if you remember back from our EIGRP lesson, EIGRP keeps a topology database. Let's take a look at what that looks like. Show IP EIGRP topology. Sure enough, I can see the best routes as determined by EIGRP. This route is labeled as the successor and is the best route. The successor route is the best route to reach a subnet based on the advertised distance from the neighbor plus the distance to reach the neighbor. This is the route which will be installed in the EIGRP routing table. A feasible successor is a route which can be used in the event that the successor goes down. Now, we don't have much of an EIGRP network here, so we don't have a feasible successor. So the best routes from the topology database are taken and put into the EIGRP routing table. Show IP EIGRP route, which is what you'll see here. You can see that our route has been entered into the EIGRP routing table. Because we already have these directly connected routes in our routing table, the directly connected route has a better administrative distance than the EIGRP route does. So we will not see the EIGRP route in our routing table. please join me for Configuring OSPF.